CBS News.
On World News Tonight this Tuesday, the Federal Reserve Board cuts interest rates for the first time in almost 3 years. What difference will it make to America and to the world economy? What's left of Hurricane George lingers over the South. Water, water everywhere. And medical technology on the cutting edge. Artificial muscles. They never get tired and they're stronger than the real thing.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We're going to begin with the economy, and that involves everyone. The Federal Reserve Board has tried to give the U.S. economy a little shot in the arm today by reducing short-term interest rates 0.25% to 5.25%. It's the first cut in rates in almost 3 years. It gets passed on to everyone in one form or another. It is not a big cut. It is good for some and bad for others. First, here's ABC's Betsy Stark.
The Federal Reserve lowered the cost of borrowing money today with two goals in mind: to keep businesses spending and growing, and to keep consumers buying.
This is a signal that the name of the game at the Federal Reserve has changed from fighting inflation to maintaining American economic health in the view of a gathering worldwide recession.
The Fed is trying to improve a difficult situation for American businesses before it gets any worse. Corporate earnings are expected to be down this quarter for the first time since the 1991 recession. That makes companies less willing to invest in new plants and technologies. Motorola, Cirrus Logic, Arco, Texaco are among the companies that have already scaled back. Today's rate cut could help. Milwaukee factory owner Michael Koss, whose company makes stereo headphones, says lower interest rates are good for him.
It saves our company money because we have to borrow money like most other businesses.
Lower rates also help his customers.
Our retailers, the people that buy our products, feel confident enough to continue stocking enough products and having them on the shelves and available through the key selling season.
The Fed is hoping today's move will also be a boon to consumer spending, which has faltered a bit along with the stock market. Today's rate cut should push bank loan and credit card rates down slightly, but that might not be enough to get consumers spending freely again.
Because of the stock market and all that's going on, I kind of feel like I want to sit tight for a while.
The question now becomes, will one rate cut be enough to keep the economy on track, or will there need to be another? Betsy Stark, ABC News, New York.
We'll come back to that. On Wall Street today, some investors were disappointed that the Fed's rate cut wasn't bigger. The Dow Jones Industrials lost more than 28 points to close at 80.80. On the NASDAQ market, stocks were down more than 5 points. There was a lot of debate about the value of this cut in the interest rates even before it was made. Would it be bold enough? Does it safeguard the U.S. economy at all from some of the disasters elsewhere? A little later in the broadcast, we will take a closer look. But for the moment, we turn to the downside of this, and there is one. Here's ABC's Bob Jameson.
At Florida's Epworth Retirement Village, the Fed's action was like a pay cut. The only income many elderly have to supplement Social Security is the interest paid on their bank savings.
Even at this time, the savings account doesn't pay very much at all. And if it pays less, it'll be worse.
About half of American households rely on bank interest, not the stock market, for their savings to grow. They include not only the elderly, but also lower-income families, parents starting savings for young children, and those saving for a single purpose, like Christmas or vacation clubs.
20, 46.
Today's cut by the Fed means the interest rate these people earn, which has fallen steadily for a decade, is likely to fall further. In the last 10 years, interest paid on regular savings accounts has fallen by 3/5. It is a little more than 2% today.
You really don't make anything on that at all. I think it's horrible.
I think they shouldn't be cut. I think they should leave them the way they are.
Oh, you played. I did not.
Today's quarter-point rate cut may mean the difference of only $50 or $100 to those women in Florida. But that means much more to them than any worries about the economy in the rest of the country and around the world. Bob Jameson, ABC News, New York.
For the moment, one other item, no connection to the Fed, but there was another cut in interest rates today which will appeal to parents and students planning to go to college. The Senate has approved a bill to cut interest rates on college loans by almost a full percent. The new rate, 7.46%, is the lowest it has been in 17 years. Now President Clinton needs to make it law. When we come back, some of the other news today. Oversaturated, the last of Georges, still pouring it on. And is the military stretched too thin? Too many commitments, or does it want too much?
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by DirecTV.
55. What'll it be?
We'll take some rice and...
Get some Favre, too.
Yeah.
Now you can choose which teams you see every Sunday with DirecTV and NFL Sunday Ticket. There's up to 13 regular season games a week.
Price check on Favre.
Hey, Brett. Hey, John.
So stock up on all your favorites. NFL Sunday Ticket. It's not on cable. See it on DirecTV. So what are you looking at?
Attention shoppers. Now get $200 worth of programming when you get DirecTV.
Enterprise rent-a-car for my trip? Looks expensive.
It's not expensive, Mom.
They pick us up? Sounds expensive.
Pickup's free, Mom.
Well, if it's not expensive, why didn't I get a convertible?
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up. At Uniroyal, in order to make a point about our new Nail Guard tires, we added a few to our test track. Nail Guard tires, designed to seal 90% of tread punctures, instantly and permanently. Only from Uniroyal.
It hurts so bad. That burning sensation. So I saw my doctor. He said where heartburn hurts most is where Mylanta works fast. All down through here where you want help fast. My doctor said Mylanta.
After an extraordinary rampage, Hurricane Georges is finally Tropical Depression Georges. There's still a lot of rain in it. Alabama and Florida know that today. Georgia and South Carolina will feel it soon. On Dauphin Island, Alabama, just south of Mobile, the storm surge wrecked dozens of homes right on the water. In Gulf Shores, Alabama, the storm pushed sand from the beach hundreds of yards up into town. In Gulfport, Mississippi, rebuilding and restocking were the priorities today. And for the town of Orange Grove, Mississippi, the hurricane wasn't even the worst of it. Here's ABC's Aaron Hayes.
No one here had expected this.
The river's about a mile and a half down here.
The river this morning began overtaking the town.
Everybody's all right?
And the people were scrambling to get out.
Probably about 5, 6 homes in there. It's not in yet, you know. They might survive it.
Anything handy, they used it to leave, and there was no help until the National Guard finally arrived late this afternoon.
And I don't know if they're down there and don't have a way out.
Compounding their worry, the river had washed open a local alligator farm. The gators were swept into the water, rising into town. And there was no way, a local fireman said, of getting them out now.
I ain't about to get in there and do nothing with them. You know, let people that owns this place handle it. You know, when the water goes down, they'll come back in here and catch them and round them all back up.
What makes it especially frustrating is the fact that this flash flood probably would not have been nearly this bad were it not for the water released from an upriver dam. That dam holds the water supply for the city of Mobile, 18 billion gallons held in place by an earthen dam. The hurricane's rains officials feared would be too much for the dam to hold, so they had to open the floodgates, dumping water into the river.
We notified the two EMAs, our Mobile County and Jackson County, Mississippi, and that is our standard procedure.
But the people of Orange Grove said there was no warning this was coming.
In my 25 years I've been living, I ain't never seen nothing like this.
Many made the precarious trip several times, back and forth, desperate to save what they could.
You see that sign right over yonder? Yeah. If I can make it to that sign, I'll be on my way home.
This night, home here is a rather scary place to be. Aaron Hayes, ABC News, Mobile, Alabama.
One item today about the global weather. Scientists at the Space Agency say today that the ozone hole over the Antarctic is now bigger than ever, covering an area twice the size of the United States. Ozone, as we know, helps block the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays. And scientists say the fact that the hole is getting bigger means that ozone-depleting chemicals, which were banned in 1996, are still doing too much damage. One of America's best-known urban politicians has died. Tom Bradley was mayor of Los Angeles from 1973 to 1993. Not an easy city to run. Mayor Bradley managed to build a multiracial political coalition that sustained him for 2 decades. He said his greatest achievement was bringing the Summer Olympics to the city in 1984, but the LA riots in 1992 were also on his watch. Mr. Bradley died of a heart attack, and he was 80. When we come back, choice and consequences. Is the military as prepared as it should be?
Before you do this or this or this, you want to have this and this and this.
You'd be surprised how much of our technology goes into your day.
So for this or this.
We're Siemens.
We can do that.
Life's an adventure because you're over 50 and still exploring. So take the Centrum made just for you, Centrum Silver, with age-essential nutrients specially adjusted to keep pace with your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver, it's a great time to be silver.
Some things can never be taught in a classroom. You won't find them in any textbook. And with Fixodent's long-lasting hold, you'll be ready, no matter where the lesson takes you. For long-lasting hold, Fixodent, and forget it.
I know a place.
This is not a country for wimps. We invented the cowboy, the jawbreaker, and the quarterback blitz.
I'll take you there.
We are rough on our cars. So get a Chevy Malibu. It'll go up to 100,000 miles before its first scheduled tune-up. Transmission fluid, 100,000 miles. Engine coolant, 5 years or 150,000 miles. We're talking tough. The car you knew America could build. The Chevy Malibu.
I'll take you there. Oh!
Since I made my chocolate chip cookies better than ever, everyone's talking.
I don't know how you made them better, but you did. They're the bestest ever.
Thank you.
These new cookies rock.
Thanks, dude.
Wow, they're even better than before.
I hear you.
Pillsbury's best chocolate chip cookies ever. Hot and fresh in only 15 minutes.
Would you like one?
On Capitol Hill today, the Senate Armed Services Committee heard the leadership of the armed forces complain that they were in trouble. Not enough money, they said, to do the job that they're assigned. Here's ABC's John McWethy.
America's most senior general said in public for the first time that readiness is slipping and the long-term health of the force is in jeopardy. In the Air Force, pilots are leaving in record numbers for better-paying civilian jobs, while airplanes sit idle for lack of spare parts.
If we continue on the mode that we're on right now, of just balancing shortfalls and losing our quality people, we will be in a hollow force.
In the Navy, ships now go to sea without full crews. Airplanes are crashing at twice the rate of the past several years. Again, lack of spare parts is blamed, along with reduced training. Thousands of skilled technicians are getting out.
They're frankly tired of being asked to do more with less. These things are on their minds as they make career decisions.
In the Army, spending for new weapons is the lowest it has been since before Vietnam. Training is now being cut to save money.
I will tell you that's the most difficult thing that I've been involved with in my 36 years of service.
But some on the Senate committee were furious that the generals waited so long to admit their problems, saying expensive commitments overseas should not be a surprise.
You say, first, the U.S. military has been far busier than we had anticipated. General Shelton, did you think that Saddam Hussein was going to join the Boy Scouts? Did you think we were going to leave Bosnia?
The generals say they just follow orders. If the military is stretched too thin, it's up to the president and Congress to either spend billions more or to scale back the orders. John McWethy, ABC News, the Pentagon.
The Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat met with President Clinton today. Mr. Arafat said he accepted Israel's latest plan to turn over more land on the West Bank to the Palestinian Authority. Mr. Arafat also promised to work at stopping terrorism against Israel. On the West Bank today, a Palestinian man was killed when a bomb exploded in his car. Palestinian police believe the dead man and 2 others who were hurt were with the militant group Hamas. They got the bomb from an arms dealer, apparently, just before it went off. Here in New York today at the United Nations, the Libyan government has put up another roadblock to a trial of the 2 Libyans accused in the 1988 Pan Am 103 bombing over Scotland. The Libyan government has now said that if it were to send the 2 men to be tried in the Netherlands by a Scottish court as planned, and they were convicted, the government would not allow them to serve time in a Scottish jail. When we come back, we'll take a closer look at what happens when so much of the world cannot afford to buy American.
I can help you plan ahead and make sure you have money for things like kids' education.
That's fantastic. But I was thinking about starting my own business.
As a matter of fact, that's part of the plan, too. Now, here's the best part. Guaranteed income for you and Meg to retire in style.
AXA, dynamic vision, Equitable, a trusted resource. Call us. Equitable is a member of the global AXA group.
The first time I used Mentadent, I knew it was different.
Mentadent is different. That's because it's the only toothpaste with dentist-recommended fluoride, baking soda, and peroxide in a pump. So it activates on contact with a burst of oxygenated bubbles that give your teeth, your gums, your whole mouth a fresh sensation of clean.
You can feel the bubbles working, and I love what Mentadent does for my teeth.
Mentadent Clean. So clean, you can feel it. For more oral care information, call 1-877-FEELS-GREAT.
Start feeling connected. Stop feeling everything. Start feeling the road. Introducing Alero, featuring the Active Response System. Right now, you can lease the all-new Alero with the Active Response System for just $229 a month. Alero by Oldsmobile. Start something.
If you have arthritis pain that lasts all day, presenting Tylenol Arthritis Extended Relief. It's the only pain reliever that lasts up to 8 hours, with the medicine arthritis experts recommend first.
Is that my decaf cappuccino?
Weekenders are back.
No, that's my mocha latte.
Yep.
Every winter, people love to spend their weekends in St. John's Bay, like St. John's Bay wool and wool blend sweaters, cozy crew necks, comfy cardigans, perfect for chilly winter weekends, and only at JCPenney.
Excuse me, do they have kiwi almond bagels in there?
Only on the weekends.
JCPenney, I love your style.
As we said at the beginning tonight, now that the Federal Reserve has reduced the interest rates and the effect of that has gone rippling out into the U.S. economy, we're going to take a closer look at the bigger picture, namely the global economy. It is nigh on impossible to quarantine the U.S. from the rest of the world. For example, Goodyear said today that its profits have been affected by lagging overseas sales. Goodyear is going to cut 800 jobs. Levi Strauss is cutting nearly 1,000 jobs in the U.S. in addition to closing some plants overseas. Gillette is cutting 4,700 jobs, the global economy. It is both fairly simple and complicated at the same time. The U.S. and the rest of the world are so interdependent. Here's ABC's Bob Krulwich.
No question that what we make here in America, our music, our movies and weapons and cherries and apples, our medicines, our software, our most sophisticated machines, so many things that we make here, people everywhere want to buy. U.S. exports account for almost 1/3 of U.S. economic growth. And who do we sell all these things to? Well, our biggest customers in the world are the Western Europeans. They buy 25% of what we sell. Next come the Canadians at 22%, then the Mexicans at 10%, and the Japanese, also 10%. All the other Asians together buy another 20%, and everybody else 13%. However, as we all know, some of our customers have not had a very good year. All over Asia, it's middle-class families now who are in trouble, who fear for their jobs, and this is new.
The stories are heartbreaking. Doctors and nurses forced to live in the lobby of a closed hospital. Middle-class families who own their own homes, now living by selling their possessions.
And needless to say, people in this kind of trouble buy less of everything. And so our customers across Asia, including Japan, have drastically reduced their purchase of U.S. goods. But now, what we are calling the Asian crisis is spreading. Banks and investors who lost money in Asia are now pulling money out of any place that looks risky. Out of Russia, out of Venezuela, out of Brazil. So customers there are cutting back and buying less. And they're sending their savings here to America where it's safe. Which means there is so much money coming here, banks are practically giving it away. 7% mortgages, that's cheap, but that's here. Over there, it's the opposite. Next door, in Mexico, money is so tight that borrowing is outrageously expensive. A typical credit card charges, see here, 4% a month. That's 48% a year. So Mexicans are now buying less from us. And Canadians, they too have seen their interest rates rise, their dollar drop sharply. You see what's happening here. Western Europe is still very rich and very solid. But if anything should happen to Europe, that, says Treasury Secretary Robert Rubin,
may well be in many respects the most serious situation the world economy has faced in the last 50 years.
Even if we lose millions of customers all over the world, it's possible there are enough left in Europe to keep us healthy and growing. But if not, we're in trouble. Robert Krulwich, ABC News.
Well, let's take this one step further. Is this really trouble of that magnitude? A little while ago, we talked to Fred Bergson, who's the director of the Institute for International Economics in Washington. Mr. Bergson, how difficult is the situation for America and the rest of the world, really?
It's very serious. There are a number of countries around the world in deep recession, even depression. Financial instability could break out at almost any point. The Japanese yen could plummet, the Chinese could devalue, Hong Kong could be forced off their exchange rate peg. It's a very perilous situation, and I think the Fed moved properly in that context.
Properly enough, do you believe, for the United States to have an impact on the rest of the world?
It'll be a modest help, but I think this is only the first of a number of steps. U.S. interest rates are still very high when you adjust for inflation. The short-term Fed rates are still very high compared with our long-term interest rates. I think this is the first in a series of steps that'll probably take the Fed rates down by a full percentage point over the next few months.
How much impact in very general terms can the United States have on the global economy?
The U.S. can have a big effect. If we reduce interest rates substantially, it can have a big positive impact on the rest of the world, reduce the risk of global crisis.
We thank him for that. When we come back, a muscle made from silk in the laboratory right now, but maybe before long, in us. Medical technology on the cutting edge.
Okay, hon. Today's the day.
Hurry. Get your cupboards in shape. Clean out the clutter. Pitch them. Ditch them. And switch them to Rubbermaid during Kitchen Shape-Up Week at Kmart. You'll find a great selection of easy tops, serve-and-savers, and microwavable and Telebin containers. So go from clutter to Kmart for the latest in food storage. Rubbermaid, ideas that last.
A little sore.
Kmart, lowest sale prices every time, guaranteed.
The Easy Spirit Anti-Gravity Collection.
I'm gonna fly.
Shoes that let you walk and walk and walk without feeling a step. Millions of microbubbles fill the sole to keep you comfortable and hold gravity at bay. Easy Spirit Anti-Gravity Shoes, now available in dress, casual, and fitness styles.
It has arrived. The all-new 1999 Chrysler LHS. Timeless design, luxurious appointments, and power inside and out. On one hand, it's exceptionally quiet. On the other hand, it screams luxury. The 1999 Chrysler LHS. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars. Lease the all-new Chrysler LHS for just $399 a month.
He adores children and loves chocolate.
It's very good, and it helps.
But if you're bad,
You need to be punished.
he's gonna get you. Vengeance Unlimited special preview tonight, 10/9 Central.
Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Dunn. Coming up at 6:30, more details surface about the man who opened fire on Salem police, injuring an officer. Also, a lack of funds could force another government shutdown, and environmentalists say Northwest Wildlife may pay the price.
Brief review of the main story. The Federal Reserve voted today to make it cheaper to borrow money, cutting short-term interest rates 0.25% to 5.25%. Not a big cut, but enough. The Fed hopes to give the American economy a shot in the arm, while other economies around the world are in a slump. Finally, from us this evening, medicine or medical technology on the cutting edge. Our series this week. Tonight, muscles made by hand. Human muscles naturally get tired, get injured, wear out. Now a scientist has discovered how to make muscles from a kind of plastic, just as strong or stronger than the real thing. Imagine the possibilities. Here is ABC's Judy Muller.
This, as anyone can see, is a muscle. This is also a muscle, an artificial one.
I do believe it is a revolution in materials because we really bring materials to life.
Dr. Moshe Shahanpour and his colleagues have found a way to make chemical compounds respond to electricity much the same way human muscles do. Only these muscles are twice as strong and never get tired. One type of artificial muscle is made of synthetic silk, or Orlon. First, it's baked to make it stronger. Then it's boiled in a chemical solution to make it elastic and to give it an electric charge. The result? Materials that can expand and contract, just like real muscles. Researchers envision numerous medical uses for all types of artificial muscles, such as giving a boost to an ailing heart muscle.
The first application would be in connection with assisting a weak heart, because it may completely eliminate the need for heart transplant.
Other potential uses, so-called muscle suits, which could give new strength to astronauts, to the disabled, to fatigued troops in battle. They also act as sensors, which could prove invaluable for diagnosing spinal injuries.
The eventual goal will be to implant these into humans, into a living system, and you can monitor motion constantly, as opposed to MR and CT where you just get films.
There are still plenty of glitches to work out, such as making the artificial muscles safe for human implantation. But Shahanpour is optimistic. They've been very lucky, he says, in the advances they've made so far.
So he was very lucky.
Very lucky. Are a lot of your discoveries like that? Just luck?
I think luck is very important in discoveries. No doubt about it.
Lucky for him, lucky perhaps for a lot of people. Judy Muller, ABC News, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Tomorrow night, we're going to look at a stretcher with all the capabilities, or almost all the capabilities, of the emergency room. Once again, technology, medical technology on the cutting edge. That is our report on World News Tonight. Later this evening on Nightline, a former member of the Ku Klux Klan who murdered a civil rights activist 30 years ago, seeking redemption. I'm Peter Jennings. Good night.
Tomorrow, kids abusing alcohol. Alarming new information every parent should know. Watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now always on.
Coming up next on Channel 2 News at 6:30, police spend the day picking up the pieces from yesterday's standoff shooting in Salem. What's causing a surge in suicides